Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome to a best of 3 series of top-level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is the very first series from the GSL Code S Season 1 of 2026. It is so nice to be back. Spawning right here in the upper left, playing in red. We're looking inside of the main base of Solar. His opponent, playing with the blue Terran pieces, he goes by the name of Percival. So I heard that this particular series was played a couple of days ago, and I heard that this particular match is an absolute banger. So we'll have to find out exactly what ended up going down between these two legends. In my mind, Solar is certainly the favorite going into this, just because Solar has, never really gone out in the early rounds of the GSL period. He's always been, at the very least, like a top 8 player. He's ridiculously good. But Percival has been making very solid improvements over the last year or two, to the point where right now I do consider him maybe not quite like a top 5 Terran, but he is getting remarkably close. So we'll see. Obviously, this would be a very nice way to start off a brand new season. So for the GSL currently, there is not just the Code S that's currently ongoing, but there's also the GSL CK, which is like an entirely separate tournament. It's really nice to see that the GSL is continuing as well into 2026 with a ton more broadcasts. And yeah, big shout out to them for sending over these replays so I can go ahead and cover them for you as well. So it's going to be a Reaper start right now for Percival. Solar opting to go for a hatchery into a gas geyser and then into a spawning pool, slowly saturating the extractor here so he can, eventually get up that Zergling speed. We'll have to see if he decides to pull out of the gas at all, so it's quite common for Zerg players to pull out early, especially on Winter Madness, because you do really prefer taking this as your third base. And you can theoretically pull the drones out right now. He doesn't, but you can theoretically pull them out at about 60 gas mind, at which point you can secure the third base, before the Reaper arrives on your side of the map. And if you then start up link speed, when you get up to 100, you will still be able to get it done by the time that 4 Hellions are out on the map. Anyhow, new plan. What is this doing out here? Are we going to go for a factory proxy? A second factory, that is? Don't think so. This is very likely going to be a proxy starport instead. Okay. One little Zergling here taking a lot of damage. Third hatch, by the way, did start up mostly uncontested because there was no SCV to the other side of the map. Factory is now done. 100 gas is incoming. There it is. Starport. Okay. I would imagine what this is most likely going to be is a medevac into a Liberator. So we'll probably make 4 Hellions, load them up into their private jet, and then follow it up with a Liberator to do a bit more harassment. Obviously, this does slow down any medevac production that Percival will likely be going for a little bit later on in the game. But this will shave off like a good 10 seconds or so on, the very first medevac going into the base. Solar Scouts does not bother checking any further than this, so he hasn't seen the lack of a third command center. He has not seen the lack of a starport inside of the main base either. He's probably making the assumption now that there is a third base hiding right over here in the corner, and this could be big. Not only is this a double CC opener, there's the medevac, by the way. Not only is it a double CC opener, as we do have Solar scouting around a little bit, it is also, of course, that proxy starport. Solar's not going to find it at this rate, though. Nah, he believes he's being thorough. Unless... Oh, he goes up to the high ground. No way. Well, this is big. The fact that he's going to get a little bit of a heads up here is absolutely massive. Percival settles now for just killing that one Ling. This is going to allow Solar here to get a batch of Zerglings out in time. And that was the perfect scout. Perfection here so far for Solar. Right now, it becomes problematic real quick for Percival. Solar is a very, as we do have the Hellions committing. Nice little bit of body blocking as well with that Roach Warren. Solar is a very decisive Zerg. Like, if he feels like he's got an advantage, he's not afraid to push for it. And if you delay your third command center for this long, your economy is so much weaker here for Percival. He's going to even lose a few SCVs, it seems, although maybe he's going to be okay. Still, though, just slowing everything down a smidge here is absolutely massive for Solar. Yeah. And this right now, especially if we don't return to mining ASAP, is going to be a bit of a disaster. Hellions in the main base, in the natural expansion, all get cleaned up. Even the medevac may very well not be able to find its way home. That's all Hellions down the drain. Only 2 drones ended up going down. Really, Percival's only saving grace, as the medevac also dies, is the fact that the lair is pretty late. Solar did not bother starting it up early, but if the lair was already done, I think we may very well see a game-ending attack. My god, one pesky Zergling with no HP of its own also still kills 2 SCVs on his way out. Yeah, this is a disaster here for Percival. Really, really bad start. What could have been so nice is now massively problematic. He's now basically at the mercy of Solar. Solar can do whatever he likes. Solar can commit to heavy droning. He can go into a 4th base. He can play macro from here. He can try and go for an all-in. Really, the sky is the limit. And while Stimpec is nice, he's going to maybe get a couple roaches for his troubles. He's going to get 4 roaches. Honestly, better than I thought he was going to get, but he did have to double stim for it. He really wants to get the Ravager, too. Maybe an Overlord? Okay. This is already a bit of a desperation move here, though, for Percival, because if there are just a lot of units in production, you're just in so much trouble. Roach speed coming up right now. +1/+1, researching 2, and most importantly, that is the +1 missile. So this is going to give Solar a lot of, well, pushing potential as well, if he wants to. Still, though, for a Roach attack, it's going to be reasonably late. We also saw a snipe right there on a single worker that was going to turn itself into another hatchery. Yeah, and Percival really has his work cut out for him. Honestly, he's doing a really, really nice job, though, with the stuff that he's got. Ravager ends up going down as well. Keep in mind, though, that Percival didn't really, like, misplay. He just got a bit unlucky, right? Like, he basically relied on his opponent not scouting him. And since he got scouted, I mean, yeah, it's really easy to judge and, yeah, think about the situation being terrible for the Terran at that point. But that's the gamble you make when you decide to go for a proxy like it. It's a big risk, big reward type of situation. Yeah, he's done a pretty good job, though, getting back into the swing of things here. Still not loving his position. Because even though these Marines have been effective, the actual backbone of the Terran economy is just not really that great compared to the Zergs. Solar is going to commit to a big attack. He's got 67 workers. That is for the Gen Alpha watching this. They'll really appreciate it. But other than that, he's making non-stop army. He's going to attack, I think, when 1-1 is done. Roach speed is already finished. Yep, we're going for a move out right now. Building a infestation pit on the back of this, and I guess we have a 4th hatchery too, so he can certainly actually commit to macro again. He's being pretty non-committal with this push, actually. I already thought he was going to send it, but he's just going to sort of test the waters a bit and build on the advantage rather than risk it all. Bailing Nest as well. So Solar really is just trying to see if he can potentially win here, but not really committing to it that hard. Although I think if he would send everything right now, if he wasn't making too many drones on the back of this, he would be capable of potentially pushing for the victory. The problem is that he doesn't know the amount of siege tanks, right? And maybe he's correct in assuming that there are indeed quite a few of them. 4 tanks is really nice. And this is one of the features, I guess, of Winter Madness, having that high ground advantage with 2 of those tanks. That can still help over at the 3rd is really quite good. This Marine push is actually also one that is quite scary. And sometimes, right? And maybe that's what we're witnessing here. Sometimes when players are feeling like they're mostly down and out, they start going a little bit YOLO. They move around the map as if they've got nothing to lose anyways, and it actually works out way better than you would expect. I feel like these Marine move-outs that we've been seeing so far in this game are pretty good examples of exactly that. Percival getting a lot of value out of these very, random attacks. Just hitting the stim button, hitting it a second time, using it for extra movement speed. Hive is going to be nearly done. 2nd factory coming up right now, too. Normally, the progression now is indeed to go into a 4th command center. The problem is if we go, as he does get one of the infestors, so that's good. Problem is if we now go into, say, Ultralists here, as the Zerg player, Terran will not really have an answer. And I would imagine with the +1 melee here, after the +1 missile, we'll probably go into Ultras. There it is. Yeah. Ultra Cavern, Adrenal Glands would be really good. Maybe like a Viper or two. And then a push with Chitinous Plating. It's another one of those attacks that can absolutely tear a Terran player apart. Strangely enough, though, Solar's already maxed. Solar is already maxed before he even really wants to go for any Ultras. It is a very Roach-heavy army. So the supply count is a little bit inflated. But you know what? The longer that this game goes on, the more I quite enjoy this here for Percival. Like, it's still not ideal. Fungal, fungal, fungal. Careful here, Percival. Okay. Dancing on the edge of the creep was the correct choice. Gets another Ravager there on its way out. Zergling run by in the meantime on the right side of the map. 4th command center being set up. That one will be growing a little planetary fortress hat. Zergling run by over here is nice, but there are quite a few reinforcing Terran units too. 1 siege tank falls. 1 medevac is going in around the side as well. This will be cleaned up though, and 7 drones ended up dying at the same time simultaneously on the other side. A single Liberator over at the 3rd base being really annoying. Medevac drop in the meantime goes into the natural. I'm still a little bit afraid though for when the Ultras ultimately hit the battlefield. And they are just about to hatch. At this point, they're not really that strong yet. We do have some nice fungals. But soon, Chitinous Plating is going to be done. Soon, Adrenal Glands is going to kick in. So this is armor for the Ultralisks. This is attack speed for the Zerglings. Big power spike. Actually, Solar, thinking about attacking before those upgrades are finished. That would be a mistake. I think this is actually the first time he realizes that there's a planetary fortress there. I mean, the Infestors have been getting blasted. Chitinous Plating not yet done. Adrenal Glands, however, finishing. Yeah, I think what may also be happening in this game is that Solar knows he's the favorite going into this, of course. So he really doesn't want to take any crazy chances. So Percival has all the luxury in the world here to be a bit of a risk taker. Oh, saving a bunch of the SCVs as well by popping them into the planetary is real cute. And you know what? Because of the mass repair, it looks like the command center lives. Percival gets a magical engagement. Loses basically nothing important other than a bunch of army. Look at the supply count. Whoa. That was a beautiful bit of micro there from the Terran. And that's what I'm talking about, man. I think Percival a year ago would not have been able to pull off little bits of micro like that. There were like 17 sequences going on at the same time, and he managed all of it. Little Zergling run by yet again. Push in the meantime on the left side. Percival pushing the issue now. Fungal? Yeah. Okay, that'll be the end of this attack, I think. In the meantime, there's also a secondary fight happening on the right. A couple of Liberators here being a really large nuisance. 3-3 is going to finish up for Percival real soon, though. Corrosives? Okay, they do connect there with a single medevac. Looks like the drop over here on the left side has been cleaned up. The only thing remaining now is 4 empty medevacs. But considering Percival was pretty much down and out of this game after the early match, right? Like after the very start of the game. This is incredibly well managed. He's now going to go up to a 5th base of his own. 6th hatchery in the meantime. Starting up at the 12 o'clock position for Solar. But Solar is now playing this like weird, long drawn out like Ultraling Bane type of unit comp. Forced to add on a few Vipers, forced to add on a bunch of Corruptors. It slows down Zerg quite a bit. And really the only thing that Percival is lacking at this point is time. This is still an uncomfortable position though for Percival, because what you really want as a Terran player at this point is to have like a Ghost Academy to begin your production of like your half dozen, maybe up to like a dozen or so orbital commands. You really do need a little bit more than just what we've got going on at this point in time, but this is going from really quite bad to really quite manageable again. Getting a hatchery snipe here would be huge. +3 attack man on these units is real good. And that'll be the end of the hatch. It's going to slow down the Zerg even more. Percival simultaneously also doing a really nice job preventing the creep spread. Good splits there by Solar. But this could be the beginning of Solar really letting this game slip out of his fingers. So what do you prioritize right now as a Terran? Okay, it's command centers. You want to get everything eventually. Like, you want to get command centers and a Ghost Academy and ghosts and preferably a second starport. And you want to get the advanced ballistics upgrade. And, you know, you want to get all of your late game research done. Like Caduceus reactor. You want to get your building armors, right? Like, there's a lot to choose right now as a Terran, and to prioritize is tough. But likewise, he also wants to have enough Marine Marauder to keep the pressure up. There's actually really not that many Liberators up in the air right now, so those Corruptors feel mostly useless. The Marines can absolutely gun down the Corruptors. Nicely done. Percival carving a path through the creep here. Okay. Ghost production kicks in now. Lovely, man. Really good stuff here at Percival. Huh. What's really cool about Percival is that he's been competing for a really long time. Like, he's been playing this game for years. I mean, obviously not as long as someone like, for example, Solar, but he's been participating like right below the pro level for many, many seasons now. And only really over the last year or two, look at this fight. Beautiful work yet again. Has he finally been able to really close that distance to the pro level reliably, getting to the point where he can start taking games off of pretty much anybody out there. And while maybe it feels a little early to say this is Percival's season, right? He has certainly been progressing faster than the majority of the top dogs out there. Like, he is starting to get to the point where he's actually making solid progress in their direction. In the meantime, while he's distracting the Zork up north, he's sending another Expo down to the bottom left. "27 drones, by the way, on this single base now. There's the Ghosties joining in as well. Nice little bit of micro here by the Terran yet again. He's got Medivacs nearby. Good snipes. Banelings, though, are scary. Nice work here, man. Dude, this is the best game I think I've seen Percival play. It's so easy to just be behind and roll over and die, right? Like, that's just kind of what StarCraft is usually about against the absolute top dogs like Solar. Nice fungal over there, but no follow-up, really. I think we have to, yeah, maybe not overextend. Okay. This is good here by Solar. Feels like the first time in like 5 minutes that Solar gets even like a small victory. And keep in mind, Solar still has a really nice eco. Yeah, I think Percival needs to chill a little bit. This is what happens when you start producing a lot of ghosts out of your barracks with tech labs on them. Yeah, exactly. Once you lose that Marauder front line, the ghosts, they kind of replace it. But obviously the ghosts really do need a little bit of support as well. Like, pure ghost alone is not usually gonna cut it. How old is Percival right now, actually? I'm gonna look it up real quick. Percival Wikipedia. He's born in 2002. So that makes him 24. Okay. Yeah, he has been playing for a while. So apparently he's been active at a high level since 2019. And apparently it's taken him about this long. But he's really starting to, yeah, be a problem right now. Solar, by the way, trying to take the base in the far bottom left. Nice abduction there with the Viper. But he's taking the base over here in the far bottom left, right next to where Percival has been setting up shop. Percival doesn't know about it, but that hatchery is pretty much dead. Speaking of dead hatcheries, though, for this one, we're going to get 13 drones, and then also the base itself, make it 14. And I think he's probably going to try and retreat over here in the direction of the creep. He'll probably find this base by accident. Yeah, he's going to find this base by accident. Drone actually also decides to cancel. And he just leaves. Mining 5 of the mineral fields in the bottom left, but then getting on out of there. And luckily for that single worker for the Zerg, those Terran units were not on a tech move. The Giga Chad drone right there. On its own little mission. Dude, he's relentless. Percival is just going at it. I wonder... Oh, Felix! Woo! The Widow Mine there. Yeah, no, overextension again. I wonder if we should chill and build up a bunch of command centers. Hatchery, by the way, on the left side ended up getting cancelled again. Solar is holding on by the skin of his teeth. And I think that's why Percival is being so aggressive. He knows that this Zerg player has to be near broke. Personal cloaking is going to be done for the ghosts in just a moment. Solar really hasn't been able to find much of a... Do you think that's the drone from earlier? He's the commanding officer of the Zerg now. He hasn't really been able to find a lot of good run-by potential, right? Like, he wants to get into those mineral lines. Right now, though, this is enough links, fully upgraded, of course, to actually start taking down command centers. Yep. And this is Solar striking back. Yeah. Ever since the Mission Impossible drone. I don't know if it's the same one, but let's pretend it is. The Mission Impossible drone has got a brand new home yet again. You'll love to see it. 16 SCVs end up going down. And Percival, indeed, is forced to take a bit of a breather. There's still a lot of, like, late-game luxury upgrades, though, that Percival is lacking. High-sec auto-tracking, advanced ballistics, Caduceus reactor, building armor, and then, like, 5, maybe 6 command centers. Like, if we can get all of that, this game is going to be very comfortable for Terran. But obviously, that's a lot, right? Like, that's a ton of resources that need to be invested. And Solar is not going to allow it, I don't think. Considering, though, that the way that this game started off, you're just such... Like, it's very easy to look at the game objectively and think, this is really not that bad for Terran. But when you delay your third command center and then your proxy base or your proxy build rather gets scouted, you just fall behind so fast as a Terran. It's really kind of difficult to explain, but you just have zero momentum going for you in a matchup that is very momentum heavy. Solar doing a good enough job, I think, to still keep this rolling here. Like, his new strat is effectively to try and contain the Terran on the bases that they've got. Now, Percival has a lot of bases. We're, by the way, 23 minutes into the game now. That's pretty crazy, too. These guys are going at it. I love the Corruptors, man. Really nice to see some Corruptors in the game, too, to just pick off some of the medevacts. Weirdly enough, this game was going better for Percival before he went for the Ghost transition. Normally, the Ghosts are such a nice unit, but I guess because it coincided with the Marauder loss, right? Like, he lost a bunch of Marauders, kept making more Ghosts, and then ended up with, like, Ghost Marine medevac. Yeah, you really do need to have some front lines there. The overextension really cost him. Multiple overextensions. Hey... What are you doing here? Burrow, bro. The Tom Cruise drone! No! No! You monster! Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Well, now you've done it, Percival. Now you have angered the Zerg. This planetary fortress is going to die, and with it, many SCVs. You do not poke the bear. Now Solar is on the hunt, but he knows that he doesn't have infinite money. He's just going to use those Corruptors to start burning down some of the Terran structures. Oh, there's a single infestor over here too. Never mind. Yes, it is. Never mind. EMP also does reveal cloak units. Or burrowed units, for that matter. Little Marauder hit squad in the upper right. We probably want to be targeting the hatch. He does target the hatch. Man, this entire game has been Mission Impossible. But... oh. I think Solar is just barely coming out ahead at this point. The problem is, for now, for the Zerg, right, is that this is a really difficult game to actually read. So, getting all of those units out here, right, like knowing how much stuff the opponent has is incredibly tough. Like, we obviously see the exact supply count and the amount of resources that the players have. Solar here has to make a calculated guess. He knows that the Terran's not going to be as rich as a even game of Terran versus Zerg. But what exactly does that mean? He's only got 67 workers again. Once more for Gen Alpha fans. Well, the splits here from the Terran are real good. Backing up to the safety of the planetary once more. The Medivacs, though, man. How many Medivacs have died this game? That's so many ghosts also finding their grave right now. Reinforcing Marauders show up. But that was the end of Percival's bank. Solar also, likewise, doesn't have a ton to spend anymore. But he is now almost doubling his opponent's supply count. Not quite. Yeah, we've had 35 Medivacs die. It's just those Corruptors. Those Corruptors have been insanely effective. A little bit of Caustic Spray as well. Zorklings in the meantime work away on the missile turret. Say goodbye to another planetary. And the one attempted in the bottom left also gets denied. And that very likely seals the deal here for Solar. Beautiful game of StarCraft, though. Beautiful gaming. What do you do right now as the Terran? Maybe you send a orbital command as a peace offering. Yeah, that's a good idea. Here, Solar. Maybe you pause the game and you attempt to resolve this through diplomacy. Or rock, paper, scissors. Maybe Solar will take the bait. Who knows? I don't think the rules of the GSL will allow it, though. But who cares? Great attempt here by Percival. Likewise, though, really solid recovery here by Solar. Because this is a game that was almost out of his fingers, right? Like, this game was slipping out of his hands. And it would have been very easy to continue letting it, go the wrong direction. But Solar managed to catch it in the end. And I believe that that means we are going to a game number 2 with a 1-0 advantage for Solar. Maybe the expected outcome for most people watching. But I think Percival did a remarkably nice job here. Well, sustaining himself. I think his next best choice is to fly the command center to the corner of the map and hope that the Zerg player doesn't find it. GG. Am I actually right in saying that EMP reveals burrowed units? So it definitely works if you have, like, say, a Dark Templar, right? So Dark Templar most definitely get revealed by an EMP. So at this point, the Ghost cannot see the Dark Templar. But when I EMP, look away. That's a nude Dark Templar, right? He can see him. How about the Infestor? I may actually be wrong. This is an interaction we rarely see. Nope. No, in my mind, Burrow and Cloak are mostly the same, but I got it wrong. It does apparently not reveal the Infestor. Yeah, it has to actually be unburrowed. What about fungal growth? So, this is a weird situation, but I believe fungal growth does reveal burrowed units. Yeah. How strange is that? So, apparently EMP does not technically remove the burrow status, and I guess fungal growth doesn't either. But that is considered a way to detect. Game number 2. We find ourselves on beautiful Mothership. You know, I'm actually gonna miss this map when it's out of the map pool. So the current GSL Code S season is not yet happening on any of like the finalist maps. In general, the GSL Code S always considers itself to be, you know, a very prestigious tournament. So therefore, you're not gonna be running a very important event on maps that are still up for debate. That's not generally how you do things. So this entire GSL season will be running on the current map pool. I have no idea, by the way, when like the official map pool change will happen, but I'm guessing it's probably gonna be like sometime in June, maybe early June or so, if I were to make a guess. Really, like the main point for debate, even after the finalists and the winners and all that are decided, right? The main point for debate will be whenever Blizzard gets around to updating it. Like, I'm pretty sure that the way that these things happen, and I honestly don't even really know the details, but I'm pretty sure that the way that these things happen right now is that the community and the people that are in charge for this sort of thing just sort of hand the balance patch on a silver platter to Blizzard. They will give Blizzard the new maps. They will give Blizzard everything they need to change. And then it's a waiting game. Then it's a waiting game. And you just kind of hope that maybe things happen, but it's really hard to say. Yeah. It's a bit of a shame, actually, the way that StarCraft gets treated by Blizzard these days. But anyways, maybe things will be better at some point down the line. It's been a little while, actually, since Microsoft took over. Now, Microsoft obviously also owns games like, for example, Age of Mythology, right? And Age of Mythology is still getting regular updates and a lot of changes. Heroes of the Storm has recently been getting quite a few patches as well. So, you know, surely they'll get around to the greatest RTS game of them all very soon, right? Anyways, super quick lair right here for Solar. We've got ourselves a Roach Warren on the back of this as well. This is something that will be difficult to scout here for Percival. He's not going to be able to get into the main base. And Solar now leading this game with a 1-0 advantage. It does open the door for some potential Roach floods. Let's see. Now, do we actually commit to it, though? That's the question. Yeah, Solar is not actually committing to it. I think this is a safety Roach opener. So he's got Roach speed coming. I think he wants to go +1 missile. Could even be +1 armor. But this is actually not just going to be like a Roach flood at this stage in the game. I think it'll mostly be safety Roaches for now, and he'll just try to be a bit of a punching bag once more. Yeah, +1 carapace. Okay. In the meantime, double engineering bay as well here for Percival. In a way, I also kind of think that Blizzard is a little scared of StarCraft, because StarCraft is such a... like, it's a very sensitive game, right? Like, if you change anything at all, not only can, like, the entire balance of the game break, but I'm also pretty sure that none of the people that currently work at Blizzard are actually able to deal with the legacy code that is the StarCraft 2 interface, launcher, ladder, and all the rest of it. Like, anytime there is one little small adjustment, it is possible that everything breaks. Now, I'm secretly hoping that the updates we have been getting over the last half year to the year or so have been made by somebody that's been studying the legacy code. And honestly, this is one of the things where maybe AI can be very useful, where it can actually help you figure out what you're looking at. Because I'm pretty sure that the people that made StarCraft 2, like, none of those folks are actually still at Blizzard these days. So it's a little complex, I'm sure. And it will take some time for someone to actually be able to actively work it. But anyways, the Roach is now ready to intercept the Marine drops. Single Overlord here will be able to hide. Here's the Roach push, though, that Solar has been setting up. And what's really nice with this type of opener for Zerg is that you get to be in the driver's seat a little bit, right? This is not even that committed an attack here for Solar. Look, he's droning on the back. It is super hard. This is not even really that committed here for Solar, but Percival has really no way of knowing it. Beautiful game here by Solar, actually. This is really nice. Like, he's getting way more than he was hoping for with this attack. Honestly, at this point, you're kind of regretting not making a follow-up round of roaches. Instead, we're going to see him at 67 workers here for a bit before skyrocketing to 69 and then above 70. Very nice. Getting all the fans into StarCraft here. All right, 4th hatchery, though, fires up. And this is a bit of a disaster here for Percival. So he finishes up 1-1, but he doesn't even have the 3rd command center secured anymore. Armory is a little bit late, so he can't go straight into 2-2. This is like the main advantage that he has at this point. Those double upgrades kicking in nice and early. But now he's only on 42 workers versus a Zerg who's already above 3 bases. Well, we saw him YOLO a little bit in the previous game, right? He went extremely aggressive, grasping for straws, and he actually ended up getting quite a bit. But at this point, I think this is a unit composition that Solar is going to be very comfy with. Like, this map is just easier to defend on. There's a lot less space that you actually need to cover here as the Zerg, compared to the Winter Madness. Like, you really don't need that many roaches in that many locations. Baiting Nest coming up. Hive mostly done. Ultra Cavern yet again. Yup. Adrenal Glands. If you want to be super safe as a Zerg, I feel like a Viper here is super nice as well. Because really the only thing that can scare you now is a bunch of siege tank attacks. Now there are 4 tanks, which is really not that much, but I always feel like, you know, it's one of those things, right? Is there a unit composition that is worse off with a Viper? Like, is there ever a spot where you don't want to have 2 Infestors, for example? Technically, yes. But in pretty much all instances, the main bottleneck is the human. The human behind the pro gamer. That's the bottleneck. It's just hard to control spellcasters. And I guess there's more margin for error, right? Like, if you are a little bit afraid of accidentally miscontrolling your control groups, it's easier to just A-move. But, yep, this is really nice. Oh, gets a medevac as well. That'll be the end of this entire drop. 12 drones, though, do end up going down. There's a little medevac here as well in the natural, being a nuisance. But my main question is, will Percival be able to handle the next attack here from the Zerg? There's Ultralisks coming. Chitinous plating is nearly, well, about a third of the way done. So he still has some time. But Solar is going to be maxed out with the next push. And I think Percival will probably be sitting at like 150 to 160 supply. He does have the 2nd factory now done. 4th command center is finished. The final 3 barracks are being made as well inside of the main base. I think the best case scenario right now for Percival is that he has scared Solar enough to not go for an attack. But I think if Solar just goes for a shove forward with all of his army, unlike what he did in the previous game where he actually left a pretty large chunk of the units at home, I think if Solar just goes for a shove right now, it is going to be pretty much impossible for Percival to hold. Okay, a little group of Zerglings here, preoccupied with a medevac, whatever. That's about 10 supply worth for both players. Oh, and you know what? That'll be the end of that too. Okay, we send it. We send it. Here we go. Not that much fungal potential, I suppose. More and more Zerglings to reinforce this as quickly as possible. Absolute textbook here from Solar. It's still... Oh, really lovely fungal once more. It's still very Roach Ravager heavy. But you know what? He's happy to be trading out those Roach Ravager right now for more Ultraling Bane. Yeah, and look at the supply count. This is right before the Zerg reinforcements will actually be able to come in. 4th command center gets denied as well. All the Roaches are now gone. And while it's bloody here, and maybe Solar is losing a little bit more than he ideally would like to, Percival is pretty much dead in the water here. Solar can do whatever he pleases. I would love to see a small group of Lynx split off into the 3rd base to get rid of those siege tanks and then start working on the SCVs. Ultras and Lynx in the natural here are going to be able to put a lot of work in. Yeah, for some reason, we're not really sending a small group of units there into the mineral line. I think he's going to do it right now. Really just trying to control the space. And these links, they are very likely going to force Percival to leave the game. Because with this many SCV losses, there's just not a whole lot that the Terran can do anymore. You may have 4 command centers, but you have a Zerg player on, well, not just 4 base economy, but even a 5th base already done. That is so many SCVs down the drain. Percival desperately trying to stabilize in this game. But unlike the previous one, I don't believe that this time around it is going to be possible. He can obviously give it a shot, though. Like, he's not technically dead yet. But he's 40 workers behind. He does have an upgrade advantage, so that's nice. This is, of course, the GSL Code S. Might be the biggest tournament you play all year. No reason to be leaving early. Maybe a little bit of overextension here by Solar could also be the beginning of something nice. But we're going to have to activate God mode at this point. Increase all your damage by 1 million. Reduce all the enemy HP by a similar amount. I'm pretty sure Solar could quite literally go AFK for 2 minutes and still come out ahead. The ultimate disrespect. The bathroom break. I don't think there's ever happened before in a game of StarCraft where somebody actually gets up out of their chair, even though the game is not technically over. Yeah, another Zergling run by over here is incredible. Sixth base over here at the far bottom of the map. Percival has seen it, I believe. No, he hasn't even seen it. Wow. He had vision of it, but I guess the hatchery just started up right after he saw, or, well, when he saw that part of the map. Yeah, and this is a lovely game to be playing right now as Solar, because you know that this game is pretty much in the bag. Like, Zerg players love this phase. You're basically flooding the map. You're able to easily push back. Oh, you even get the command center kill. Wow, okay. He's even able to just push everything around here from Percival. The attack at the bottom didn't achieve anything, and now with the command center going down, Solar secures the win. GG.